If you just joined us, you're still with us, it's still Enterprise Morning. We're reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for today. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, has ordered an immediate and comprehensive investigation into allegations of criminal activities within the Okere Correctional Center in Warri, Delta State. Punch Online reports that the directive follows recent media reports exposing alleged criminal activities going on in the facility. Condemning the alleged infraction, the minister, in a statement on Tuesday by his spokesman Babatunde Alao, reaffirmed his zero-tolerance stance on indiscipline and misconduct, vowing that those found culpable would face severe consequences. Reiterating his commitment to integrity, transparency, and accountability, the minister assured the public that the government remains steadfast in enforcing discipline within the country's correctional facilities. The minister also urged members of the public to provide any relevant information that could aid the investigation. I still have with me Emeka Mantunago. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for hanging on.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Beautiful. So let's have the conversation now. Of course, this is coming from an expose made possible by Sahara reporters, where, of course, they did conclude that there were lots of shenanigans going on in the correctional center. I'd love you to flesh in that for us, please.
Yeah, it's actually, there's a police officer, I think the DPO of one police station somewhere in Warri should be commended, first of all. He was the one that blew the lead open on this. That, some people took a case somewhere and then it wasn't handled well, so they went elsewhere and into another police station. And then the DPO started investigating. They started tracking and found out that the phone number, a phone number connected to that crime, that alleged crime, was inside Warri Correctional Center. How come? When they got there, they demanded, they said they wanted to see, they made, and the correctional officers refused to cooperate with them. So the matter blew open on social media. So what it has shown is that there's a big rot in the correctional service, Nigerian correctional service. There's a big rot in the correctional service, which needs to be looked into very seriously. Government needs to look into it very seriously. Because there have been allegations over the years that, criminals, that inmates, of prisons, they're now correctional centers, are routinely hired to go and carry out criminal activities outside. These things have been in the realm of speculation, but there have been certain things that tended to validate those assumptions. Look at the case of Bobrisky, the cross-dresser, Idris Okuneye, and the claim that he was not in prison, that he didn't stay in any prison cell, that he was in a convenient location, so he could even been at home. He could have even been at home. There have been allegations that some of these big men who are, whom the courts, ordered to be remanded in prison custody, actually stay at home. And then they'll just go to the street and bring somebody, just arrest somebody and put the person there, in place of the big men. There have been all kinds of stories. The way, there have been allegations that, policemen, will take people to court, frame them up for non-existent offenses, throw them in prison in exchange for the release of some people. So what it means is that the security services, there's a lot that, some of the things we hear leave much to be desired.
Because this is actually very sad, how that someone on death row would be allowed to go commit criminal activities on behalf of the wardens taking care of him, and he is even magnanimous to even return back to the prison, to, of course, bring his loot and all. It's actually very, you can only hear that in a banana republic.
Even in the movies. But this is Nigeria, where, in fact, the oddest things are heard. ahead of, and it's sad. It's very sad. The correctional service system needs to be pushed. So many people in custody should not be there. A lot of people are actually innocent. Some might even be held there because they couldn't get anybody to pay 20,000 naira bill for them. It's that bad. Street traders. You know, Afre, people in custody for Afre. You know, what you call commonly two fighting. Different things.
That should
different things.
Give in community service.
Thank God for Lagos State government that has, you know, changed to community service. You know, imagine people just being incarcerated for nothing. One man said some years ago that was it his boss was eyeing his wife, and then when he challenged him, he got him incarcerated and married the wife. What kind of impunity is that? I mean, you release people from prison to go out. Look at the jailbreak. How many jailbreaks within 1 year that happened under Buhari, culminating in the Kuje prison break. Yeah. They will look at the Owerri prison break. 2,000 people escaped from Owerri Correctional Center. The allegation that it was masterminded by one dangerous fellow, nicknamed Vampire. That was one who masterminded it because he escaped in it. And that's why you saw that thereafter. You saw the spike. The
mayhem, of course.
The spike that followed in the violence in the southeast. Yes. You saw the spike. 2,000 inmates escaped. And maybe that was even a conservative figure. 2,000 inmates escaped. So what do you expect them to go and do? You look at the other one in Kogi. Look at the one that happened in Oyo. In different places. Escaped. And you now wonder how easy it is for inmates to escape. That is even bad enough. Then you now have a situation where prison officials, you know, correctional center officials are actually the ones aiding prisoners, you know, aiding inmates to go and be used for such, you know, for such unlawful activities.
Yes, of course. While we talk about that, I think it's very important that we equally look at the capacity of Mr. Ojo. People have said he has done a fantastic job with our passports and so on, but when it comes to this issue of correctional service maintenance, it's not been there. A very dark man, while he was detained somewhere in Abuja, came up to say, and of course related some of the experiences he had. He equally bankrolled the maintenance of some things that Ojo himself stepped in to say, okay, now he understood what the problem was and he was equally going to help in doing that. But the question is, must he be told every time on things that he should know better before he even starts doing that? Or is it a complicity in one way or another?
I think Tunji Ojo is overwhelmed by the issues in the interior sector. There are different issues.
So the interior is too big.
He's in charge of immigration. He's in charge of correctional centers. He's in charge of civil defense. You know, it's so much. I think it's too big. Passport issuance alone is big.
It's a system on its own.
Yes, it's big. In any country, it's big. They're not to talk of now adding all these things to him. And then again, he does not have a security background. So some of these issues may actually be, you know, higher than his pay grade. They may be above his pay grade. Some of those issues, he may not really understand the nuances, you know, involved in some of these things. And that is why you see, you know, the way that knee-jerk reaction to issues instead of proactive reaction.
But my question is this: why is it difficult when it comes to immigration? People who work with the correctional centers, rather, it's more like a cult that you find very difficult to unbundle them. It's one supports each other. Look at the case of the Bobrisky. You know, even while the authorities said they were going to suspend some people that were involved in it, the people came up on social media and said that can never happen, or they even haven't been served suspensions and all. So is there a cult amongst these people that makes it very difficult that one cannot correct the mistakes in that particular
There's
sector?
no cult. It's just inefficiency.
Of who?
Inefficiency of those who are supposed to supervise them. That's a simple thing. There are civil service rules. When you don't follow civil service rules, what do you expect the people in the service to do? They'll misbehave. They'll behave the way they like. That's when you see things like this, because you may even find out that some of these correctional service officers may have been on one post for too long. That's why you see sometimes, it's good you just see a shake-up. People are transferred to different places. Because some people may have stayed too long on one posting and have become, like the Rock of Gibraltar. They have so become used to the system and been so immersed in corrupt activities in the system. And that is why it is necessary for, the media and the civil society to remain vigilant and expose things like this. Expose things like this. Look at Twitter Soyombo, the FIJ guy.
Investigative journalist.
Was it, is it FIJ or People's Gazette?
Yes.
Who said he immersed himself with oil thieves and allowed himself to be arrested. Then later he identified himself to the military officer that was a journalist, undercover. But everything he told the military team was related to those oil thieves. So what does it tell you? That there are people within the security establishment whose loyalty is to their pockets, not to the oath they swore to when they were being inducted in those security services. That's what it tells you. It tells you that there are people who don't think highly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They don't care. They don't care about Nigeria. And so that's why crime proliferates. Because some of these people are in bed with criminals. We remember the case of DSP George Yamu, who was said to be selling guns to criminals as a deputy superintendent of police in Benin during the Anini, Lawrence Anini, and the Monday Osumbo saga. Yes. So what do you expect? Look at how many times military armories have been, raided in Nigeria. Have been said to be missing vital weapons, vital ammunition, and all of that. Where did these things go to? People within the system selling these things to criminals. So when you look at that, you just wonder. I mean, how many times has it been said that there have been traces of Boko Haram in the presidency? In the presidency. Jonathan, former President Goodluck Jonathan, said, I have Boko Haram in my government. I think President Buhari, there was a security officer who was accused of having links with Boko Haram on his security team, a member of the security team. So when you look at things like that, what do you expect? What do you expect?
So this is not just related to the correctional, servicemen.
It's everywhere.
It's a systemic issue.
The entire system needs an overhaul. The entire system is rotten. It needs an overhaul.
Yeah, because I wonder if you take a look at Sena crimes, where
it's not as if it's better in other countries. Though.
No, because the
in other countries, you'll be shocked if you go to the website of the U.S. Department of Justice and see some of the cases there. You'll be shocked. You'll be wondering, is this happening in the United States of America? Look at the revelations coming from the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, being pushed by Elon Musk. Look at the claims that are coming out. I hope they're not exaggerated, but you can imagine the world's most advanced democracy, so called. Look at what is going on. Look at all the corruption. Look at all the diversion. That's why, for instance, there was a memo just came out this morning. That all the employees of the U.S. Agency for International Development, should just proceed on administrative leave. That by Thursday evening, those to remain will be communicated. Can you imagine USAID as big as it is, a global, a behemoth? Look at it, has been accused of using funds allocated to it for subversion. The case in Cuba was pointed out clearly that the money sent to Cuba was just used to, you know, aid the subversion against Fidel Castro, you know. So what are we talking about? Is a problem, is a major problem with security all over the world. Even when you employ MIGAD, when you employ private security, you need to watch them closely. I don't know whether it's a problem, I don't know what it is, you know, but you need to watch them very closely. Otherwise, they could set up a roadblock in front of your house. Yes, get security agents. They could, when you're not around, they could set up a roadblock in front of your house or some meters away from your house. That is why people tasked with security management should be people who are above board and people who have the capacity, the technical capacity to deal with such issues. You don't just put anybody there because, okay, he has done well with passports. Let me tell you, somebody said that what he achieved with passports, you know, issuance was actually in the files. It was there in the files. That his predecessor should have seen it now. That all these things, contactless issuance of passport, was there in the files. Now why didn't they implement it? He came, took it and implemented it. And it looked like, oh, this man has done something unusual. But these are things that have been debated, found to be workable, and put in the files. But people refuse to, you know, people refuse to go away from the usual. They refuse to move away from their comfort zone, and that is why you have this kind of problem.
Now, but do you think a situation where governments, governors find it very difficult to sign death warrants and have people who have been sentenced to death row actually get killed or get murdered?
You mean get hanged?
Yes, exactly. Do you think that is equally worsening the situation? Because when someone has been convicted and every instance shows that he really had done this and should, of course, you know, be let go, a situation where we don't allow that happen, do you think that could must have exacerbated the problem?
Yes, it could be part of the problem. Now, where you have, I mean, like it has been said that, let me suggest that if governors know they don't want to sign death warrants, what should they do? Then let the House of Assembly commit death sentences to life imprisonment.
But it's the life imprisonment now that's, of course, has led to someone on death row being allowed to go out and commit crime for the benefit of those
that's one side of it.
Yes.
Because it could be anybody. Anybody could be used. There's somebody on death row. Anybody could be used. There are people awaiting trial now. Inmates are waiting trial for armed robbery and other, you know, crime, terrorism and other. They could be used. Anybody could be used. The issue of death warrants and life imprisonment is one side of the coin. Every coin has three sides. The other two sides. The other side is about the system. What does the system condone? What does the system not condone? The third side is about how does the system run? Who actually runs the system? Do they have the moral, you know, the moral rectitude, the moral fiber to run such institutions? Are they qualified, or did they just rise through the ranks based on man no man? Have they gone for sufficient training? Is there anybody watching their bank accounts? Is there anybody watching their lifestyles? You see, when people retire, they retire into so much wealth. Where did they make it from? I know retired civil servants, public servants who are so wealthy, owning hundreds of millions of naira, having properties everywhere. Where did they get all these things from? From their salary or from cooperative? No. Through blatant corruption.
Like the one we just saw.
Yes, blatant corruption, but nobody cares. Anything can happen, nobody cares. Didn't a ship, empty pride, disappear from Apapa port? A whole ship. I'm not talking of a canoe or an outboard engine. I'm talking of a ship disappeared from Apapa port. So what is it in Nigeria that you can say is not possible? But we are hurting ourselves. When we allow these things to proliferate, we hurt ourselves. We hurt our image. The way people view us from abroad is like, what exactly are these people up to? Why can't they have a clean system? But that is why you must be vigilant. Look at yesterday in Sweden. Somebody opened fire on a school, an adult education school, and shot 8 people. That town is said to be a peaceful, where that happens, is said to be a peaceful town. Sweden generally is peaceful and secure. But look at this thing happen. So don't take chances that people may not try to, game the system. That people may not try to be steps ahead of, the system. Always think about the worst case scenario. The best case scenario, the worst case scenario. So that, and then put in place a system of reward. A system that rewards diligent public servants, and a system that punishes people who are not ready to abide by civil service rules. That's the problem. But where you recruit people based on tribalism, recruit people based on religion, recruit people based on personal affiliation, federal character, quota system. That's where you bring in all manner of people who will not qualify to even be part of a vigilante or to even be a personal security guard to anybody.
So which means that Donald Trump was even right with the DEI thing and dissolving
No. Donald Trump was wrong.
Because it is just similar to our federal character. And
but it was found out that the major beneficiaries were white women. Major beneficiaries of diversity, employment, inclusion were white women. When they found out, they kept quiet. It's easy for people to, attack a system. When it looks like it's not favoring them. But it came out and said, look at now, it's white women who have been favored most in this. So what are you talking about? So that is the way it is all over the world. Donald Trump was very wrong on that one. Because you now find out there are restaurants where they put a signpost, white people only. Why? America was built on diversity, inclusion, But what do you find today? Donald Trump is trying to upend everything, but he himself is even saying it that things don't work like that. It's easy on the campaign rostrum to promise people heaven and earth. But when you get in there, you see that even you yourself don't know the way to heaven.
Yeah, you don't
even understand the earth. So how can you promise people? But it's easy to say, I will give you this. Hey, everybody hails you. But it's all a lie. And that's what Donald Trump is discovering. All of these things they are saying about cutting this, cutting that. No, it's not about coming into court. It's about the fact that even if you have to implement quota system of federal character, it should be merit driven. It should be merit based.
So there's nothing wrong in the federal character or quota system.
But it's not based on merit. Are you telling me that you have to bring the worst kind of people into the system?
Because they are from a particular place.
Yeah, there are people who are well educated. There are people, when people say with this VAT controversy, they say they're not, that they are parasites. I look at them and I wonder, what do you mean by that? Have you been around the north? Have you seen the farms that Northerners own? Do you remember which year was it? 2000 and what? 2006 or so, when there was a strike. Northern transporters refused to bring food. You remember what happened? No tomato, no pepper, nothing.
All vegetables actually.
And the south was vulnerable. They started begging those people to bring, and then you're calling them parasites. People who supply the food. Can you go into the farm? I'm a farmer. When last did I visit my farm? When last did I visit my farm? But these are people who live on their farms. They are attuned to their farm. Then you now call them parasites. But they provide the first basic need of man, which is food. In the hierarchy of needs, the basic need of man, most basic need of man is food. They are supplying it, even at great risk of bandits and the rest of them. And then you are now calling them parasites.
All right. I think it's so very important because the reason we were actually, pandering from one area to another is still to speak to the issue of having the right people in the right job. If our correctional service centers were actually manned by the right people who truly do understand the importance of their duties and responsibilities as at the time, we wouldn't have issues like this. But a situation just like Emeka did say, where you have one person remain in a place for too long that he has totally lost focus of why he even was sent there. That is the biggest problem that we have. But we hope that such would not repeat itself. Already we have so much on our hands and our necks. Insecurity is ravaging the country in its entirety, and to have this happen again, come on, it's more than enough. I would love to say, let's try to prevent this going in the future. Thank you so very much, Emeka.
Thank you very much
for being here. And that's just about the time we have. I truly do want to appreciate you once more for keeping a date with us. Please do well to visit us. You can always find us at enterprisetv.news.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. I am Henry Gubike. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.